Howdy and welcome to the United Stand. There is a mass feeling among the Man United fan base at the moment that Harry Maguire's time as a starter for United is up and that Victor Lindelof or even Eric Bailly should be given the opportunity. Well, today we're going to compare. In our head-to-head series, we're going to look at Maguire against Lindelof. We're going to look at the key comparison points, deep dive, and have a look at, are there any strengths? Are we missing something? You know, you watch a game and it seems to be very obvious at the moment that Harry Maguire is underperforming. Would the improvement be that big with Lindelof? How do they compare as centre-backs? Make sure you smash a like on the video if you like the concept, and let's get in with the show. So, Harry Maguire against Victor Lindelof. Let's start off with what is going to be a clear win for Harry Maguire, or so we thought. It is a win. Aerial duel success rate, 66% for Harry Maguire, 61% for Victor Lindelof. And what I would say straight away is that this is no surprise. Harry Maguire has the ability to win a header. You know, I would go as far as saying that when it comes to corners, when we're attacking, Harry Maguire's consistency in winning headers is absolutely amazing. You know, I've done it, you've probably done it. You try and play any level of football when there's a corner. To win a header consistently with that much competition is very, very difficult. And Harry Maguire's very, very good at it. Unfortunately, when he's won it, he can't direct it. It's a bit like winning the lottery and then losing your ticket. It's almost irrelevant because he can't direct the header. But aerial ability is very, very good. But what I am surprised is that 66% to 61%, Maguire's better in the air, but is it a massive drop-off? You know, is his aerial ability enough to say we must pick him ahead of Lindelof? And I don't think it is. You know, we've got McTominay, we've got Varane, Pogba's big, Ronaldo. If you're fearing defending corners, you've got enough big people there, and Lindelof isn't particularly terrible in the air. It's not like he only wins 50%, 61%. So, look, Maguire's better in that area, but I don't think it's enough to say he's got to play for Manchester United ahead of Victor Lindelof. Interestingly, in relation to passing, and again, this is an area that is basically a draw. It's just in Lindelof's favour in relation to accurate passing. But the interesting thing is, in long passes, Maguire comes out on top quite comfortably. He's averaging 5.8 successful long passes per game to 4 from Lindelof. And he is more accurate, obviously, in his long passing. I suppose it's what you think of a long pass. If it's a long pass in behind, then that's quite interesting for if you've got someone like not Victor Lindelof, Marcus Rashford. If it's a long ball when you'd rather play it short into Pogba or Bruno or McTominay, then that's a wasted ball. So look, there was a time, and I mention it for this reason under Ollie, where we were hitting too many long balls. But if you like the ability to mix it up, then obviously Harry Maguire can do that. But then the flip side is Victor Lindelof's got 2 assists this season. Harry Maguire's got none. And if I remember correctly, I certainly remember one from last season. That's from Victor Lindelof hitting a longer pass or coming out from the back. So, yes, Harry Maguire hits more longer passes, but maybe Victor Lindelof mix it up a little bit better. I don't know. But very close in that area anyway. Number 3 is defensive actions per 90. Successful defensive actions per 90. Now, this is what I was tweeting about last week. And I think the great thing about doing this sort of series and deep diving and then analysing it a little bit more, you know, there's the stat, what does it mean in game is what I want to achieve, is that last week I put a tweet out about Telles against Shaw, and Shaw's defensive success rate is not as good as Telles, even though people assume that Shaw is a better defender than Telles, which I actually think he is. But statistically, it doesn't necessarily add up. So, successful defensive actions, 7.8 per game by Lindelof gives him the victory over 7 from Maguire. Now, the interesting thing here is, and we will bring in Bailly and Varane, they're touching 10 per game, successful defensive actions. Someone like Van Dijk is hovering around 6. The way this works is that if you play for a Liverpool or you play for a Manchester City, then effectively you're not going to do many successful defensive actions. Not because you're not very good, but because the volume of defensive activity is going to drop when you're playing in a team that does a lot of attacking. Man United this season have done a lot of defending. So you can't excuse Harry Maguire's low score against Victor Lindelof or Eric Bailly and Varane, who are up near 10, because, well, we're not doing much defending. We're doing a lot of defending. The fact is, Harry Maguire is not doing as well in his defensive actions as Lindelof, Bailly and Varane. And those successful defensive actions will be tackling, intercepting, aerial duels. Well, we know that Harry Maguire is good in the air, but even with that in account, he is still the lowest in relation to successful defensive actions per 90 out of those 4 centre-backs. Phil Jones, there's not enough data. So Maguire is underachieving in his defensive work this season, very, very clearly. Victor Lindelof could do better, but is still doing considerably better than Harry Maguire. Our 4th target is duels 1, and I believe that this is any duel. It's not just aerial duels. This is duels 1. So this is like when you are physically up against somebody, what's the likelihood of you winning it? And again, this is very much like aerial duels, but this is taking into account all duels. So 50-50 going for the ball, 50-50 going for a headed ball. Harry Maguire has a 69% possession rate, 69% success rate compared to Victor Lindelof with 57. That's quite a considerable distance. So people might say, well, how can Harry Maguire have a 69% success rate in duels, but Lindelof is more successful in his defensive actions? Well, it's very, very simple, isn't it? You know, if I do something 5 times and I'm successful 69% of the times that I do it 5 times, Lindelof has done it 10 times, but he's only 57%. He's doing it more. His success rate may be less, but he's doing it more. That's basically what that means. So, you know, is Maguire so high because he's not doing it as much? Or if he did it more, would he be, you know, more successful? I mean, at the end of the day, that's the query on Harry Maguire is, you know, his success rate is pretty decent when it comes to aerial duels and tackling, but he's just not doing it anywhere near as much as Lindelof, Varane or Bailly. So, you know, that's something that he needs to look at. And look, I don't know whether any United players watch this. I don't know whether any United coaches watch it, but these are very interesting stats because it doesn't totally say that Maguire's useless, but it does show that he's not doing enough with the work rate compared to everybody else. Next one is interceptions per 90, and again, you know, this is where he drops off again. He's dropping off in his defensive successful actions, and he's dropping off in interceptions. Now, an interception is different. There's not really a duel in an interception. An interception is reading the game. An interception is seeing a pass and going in the way and taking it. It's not a tackle, an interception. It's more about reading the game, coming out the back four, taking the ball, etc. And again, I'm not surprised that Harry Maguire's low on this. And I think we're starting to build a picture now. Victor Lindelof is the better thinker. He reads the game better. He's not terrible in aerial duels. He's not terrible in physical duels. He's more successful in defensive actions per 90. But interceptions, again, he's clear. The ability to read the game, that agility in mind and body to go and read the ball, win the ball before it becomes a duel is Victor Lindelof. And to me, well, I'll talk about it in a moment, but there's a very clear, distinctive difference between Lindelof and Maguire. And you've got to ask the question, who supplements Varane? Varane's our best centre-back, so who plays better with Varane? But again, that's another category where Lindelof comes out on top. So he's 3-2 up actually on these categories, even though we're deep diving into each category a little bit more. And then the final one is yellow cards this season. And I think this exposes a real issue because fouls per game, Maguire is making more. He's making 0.8 fouls per game to 0.5 by Lindelof. He's picked up 11 yellow cards to Victor Lindelof's 3. This shows, you know, yellow cards could be for dissent and everything like that, but we know, even looking back to the game against Burnley, he's misread the ball, an aerial ball, which is meant to be his strength. He misreads the ball. It's way over him, and he's grabbing the defender because there's a chance he might end up with a one-on-one. Fortunately, David De Gea's too quick off his line for it to be a red card, but he gets up a yellow card again. Maguire has picked up a lot of yellow cards this season because he's either been too slow or he's been rash, and that is part of the game. And that is why, if he'd had 6 yellow cards, his successful defensive actions would probably be up to 8 because he's not been successful. His game is off. He's making mistakes. He's vulnerable to pace. And across those categories on my left, you can clearly see that, well, Victor Lindelof's won 4 out of the 6 categories that we've looked at, which basically summarise most areas of a defender: passing, physicality, and interceptions and discipline. Where Maguire's coming out on top is physicality and height, which is what you would expect. I wouldn't expect Victor Lindelof to clean sweep Harry Maguire, because Victor Lindelof's a very different defender. Harry Maguire is a big, physical, aerial centre-back. Victor Lindelof is a more cultured centre-back. Who works better with Varane? Well, Varane is quick, and he's good in the air, and he's good on the ball. He's the complete centre-back. What does Varane need next to him? Does Varane need a big physical centre-back next to him, or does he need a player that can play as the spare man, who's a bit more intelligent on the ball and reads the game better? And I think Lindelof supplements Varane better. I do think there's a case to say Eric Bailly supplements Varane, but that doesn't seem to ever be on the category for Manchester United. But what's very, very clear here is when you take away the captaincy, you take away the £80 million fee, and you take away the wages, and you look at the centre-backs, and this is what Manchester United should do, and I would query don't do with most of their squad. Look at the two players, look at the facts, break them down, pass it. You know, we could do this with a right back, we could do this with a number 10. Break them down into what you need, because football's not rocket science. Break them down, go through it. Who is the better centre-back? This season, it is Victor Lindelof. Who's better for Varane? I believe it's Victor Lindelof. There are compelling reasons that Harry Maguire is out of form. I think he could do better in his defensive actions. I think he could do better in his discipline. I don't think he's ever going to do better than Lindelof is in his interceptions. And look, in their passing, they're very, very close. I think Maguire hits more longer balls than Lindelof, who switches it up a bit. There's definitely improvement for Harry Maguire, but at the moment, I think he's comfortably in the shadow of Victor Lindelof, and he needs to be taken out of the team. That's my opinion. Get your comments in below. What do you think about the new series? Smash a like on the video and give us your thoughts as well. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back soon. I'm back tonight at 7 o'clock live. I'll speak to you all in a bit.